You're on, dude. I'm shooting everything. How are you, man?
How you doing?
Abbas right after the Chicago, man. Thanks for coming back to Golds.
Oh, thank you for having me again.
Yeah. You look happy today. Huh? You're
I'm
not low
okay.
carb. You have energy. I love it.
Yeah, I feel a little bit better.
Are you gonna talk more than last time? More shit.
You want me to talk some shit? You want me to open my mouth? You'll get a lot.
We just hooked up with Eric.
Yeah,
Your
yeah,
coach Eric is right here, Big Matt. So
Yeah.
we got to get introduced to each other. All right. So this is Eric Broser. It's your coach you were talking about in the last video.
Yeah, definitely. Oh God, where do I start?
Well, I'm glad you, first of all, I'm glad you invited him for this because
Yes, thank you for inviting me, my friend.
I'm getting a little shaky because I ate too much shit last night. Then my sugar dropped, so I just had some Pop-Tarts. So I'm get my
So
mind.
he's in transition phase from
Yeah,
having
right.
no energy to
too much
energy.
Too much energy. All right. So that should be a good workout
Go
today.
from silent to crazy in about a second.
Well, he's never really silent, but
You know,
that'll be interesting for sure.
Well, let's see. Where do we start? We start after the Australia. Didn't come out the way I wanted to. My peak was terrible over there. Something I ate, whatever, just I couldn't digest. Shit was sitting in my stomach. I got very flat and watery. You know, going into the show I looked good, but at the show looked like shit, pure shit. So it was the worst peak ever. Let's just say it that way. But so now we had a mutual friend, Robin,
Right.
and actually 4 weeks out I was here doing something for Robin, and she
Gaspar
introduced
was
me for
here.
Gaspar,
Yep.
yeah.
I was seeing with that, yeah.
And he took a look at me, and then I didn't know who Eric was at the time, and she explained to me afterwards. You know, he helps a lot of natural athletes. And,
He's a bodybuilding natural champion.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, I mean, and so I thought about it. I was like, if he can peak a natural guy, a natural bodybuilder, and get him shredded, what could he do with me? you
Yeah.
know? So I thought about it, and Robin said, you should seriously sit down and talk with Eric. And I said, yeah, definitely, why not? So we sat down, we talked at Firehouse, maybe a few weeks after Australia, and he explained to me his approach to the things, the diet and nutrition and cardio and his training. Not really his training so much at that point, but just the diet, and I thought about it, it got to me, I was like, this is a very good approach, because I don't listen to too many people, and
Yeah. Well, you like what you heard coming from
I
him.
like what I heard, the way he approached things as far as the way he put certain food groups at certain times of the day, and carbs at certain times of the day, fat certain times of the day. So I liked it, and I said, all right, well, let's do this. So then he gave me also his, I can't remember his training system because there's so many different letters.
Yeah, we wanted to bring up his chest and his tries for the show, which is hard to do obviously while you're dieting.
Right.
But I said let's give it a shot. So I have a few training programs that I pioneered years ago. One of them is called FDFS, or fiber damage, fiber saturation. The other one's called power up and shock, which is actually on the shirt here.
Yeah, we never remember that, Abbas, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, so that's why I just say FDFS, PRRS. But I put him on the FDFS program, which is kind of like a very intense, like a blitz training program that you don't really want to do for too long because it's very difficult on the nervous system and everything. But I knew that we could probably, I knew it was training he never did before. It involves a lot of holding stretches for a very long time during the movements, very, very slow eccentric repetitions,
So with shock
just to really
system.
damage
Yeah.
the muscle tissue.
Yeah.
And he was shocked because literally after a couple of weeks of doing it, first of all, how sore were you the first time you did? He complained. He's like, I can't train chest again for 2 weeks. He's like, I'm so sore. I'm like, well, that's because you've never done this before.
Right,
You've
right.
just been trained the same way. And then literally, his chest and his strides came up while dieting for a show. So
Now, it's
obviously
important to
worked for
say
him.
that we were talking a little bit earlier, Eric. It's important to say that you guys really only had 12 weeks to actually work
That's
together
it.
for this show. So
I didn't know anything about him. I didn't know how his body reacted. I just explained to him the mistakes that I think that guys make. Doesn't make it whether you're natural or not natural, doesn't matter. I just think a lot of guys make certain mistakes, and just based on what I saw from his physique the last time, I said, let me try this approach with you. And I explained it to him from a scientific level and everything. And he was really listening. I didn't know if he would, because he's been doing his own thing for a long time. He's worked with other coaches.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, it sounds really, really good. So
Yeah.
I was learning him and his body as we were going along. But the good thing was that you started reacting well to it. Pretty
Nice.
much from the outset. After he got used to it,
yeah,
you know, the way I had the meals and the calories and everything. But once he clicked in, I mean, every single week, better and better and better. So
Wow.
I know it was working. And,
So you're happy, Abbas?
Oh man, let me just explain. You know, this this training approach is sick. I mean, honestly, it was I was fucked up, man. I mean, I called him up. I said,
no joke.
I said, dude, I can't relax. You know, if you train legs hard, you know, it's taxing your central nervous system, and usually the next day or that night you really can't sleep.
Right,
You know,
right.
that's if you're training it hard. So I just did chest hard like that, and the next day I was still like I couldn't calm down and relax. So, you know, I called one of my doctors. You know, he's a power lifter. He knows all about bodybuilding and whatnot. So I explained to him what was going on. He said, and I told him what kind of training I'm doing. You know, with the static holds and more negatives and stretches and stuff like that. He said, yeah, this is taxing your central nervous system, so it's going to take you a few weeks because you're not used to this to, you know, get used to it. I mean, it finally, after about 3 or 4 weeks, I finally get used to it, you know, and I would be able to like hit my chest and tries like twice a week, but for a good 3 weeks it was tough. So that was like from 12 weeks all the way to like 9 or 8 weeks out, you know, that I finally got used to it. And
Wow.
like, you know, Eric said, it's very hard to put on muscle while you're dieting down. So all these shit talkers on the, you know, fucking boards, you know, honestly, I'm going to tell you
shit
how it
talkers on the
is.
boards? Holy
All
shit.
these little fucking little bitches, you know, who the hell are they anyways?
I know.
They're not even pro. They're the little shit asses behind a computer.
I know.
You know, they don't know anything about, like, you know, what I've actually been through this past year. I've only had a year to come back from what happened to me last year, you know, and nobody even knows anything about anything. So, I mean, I can get into it, but it's a long story. It was like medical issues that was like misdiagnosed and issues with my neck. So, you know, I have a lot of things to overcome, and I overcame everything in a year. So, you know what? When people say, oh, you know, are you bummed out, this and that, I said, honestly, no, I'm not bummed out, because I did all this in a year. While everybody was like kicking their own asses and busting ass for 3 years, since 2011, that was my last show, I really haven't. So I had like 1 year to come up in weight and then come down for these 2 shows. So what I've accomplished, I mean, I'm actually very happy, you know.
And Eric was telling me that you told him that as far as your look on stage and your condition and your dryness and your fullness, you were as happy as could be. So
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
what
because
matters.
I've never, it's very few times that I hit it right where I was full and hard.
Right.
You know, and this time I was actually like, when I was pumping up backstage, I could see veins in my chest. I could see veins in certain areas that I never saw before, and I was actually getting a pump, and I felt full.
Nice.
I was like, damn, this is
Great.
This is great.
He always, from what he was explaining to me, he always seemed to have a problem. Either he'd be too depleted, and he wouldn't be able to get a pump backstage, or he would overspill, you know, from the carb, you know, loading. And I figured out a program for him that I thought would actually work. I manipulated carbs and water and everything and fats differently than he's ever done before. And I said, this is going to work for you because it's an approach that I know that will keep you full, but won't give you a chance to spill over. And it worked actually, you know, absolutely perfectly by the day. And he took some pictures of himself backstage. I mean, he was just covered head to toe in veins. I mean, he was totally confident. And regardless of where he placed in the show, I know that he beat himself, you know, that he ever.
And that's all you can
And
ask.
we just did it in 12 weeks, and this is without an off season. This was his prep this time was, like you said, he had medical issues, a lot of personal stuff going on. I mean, it was constant. So we did that in 12 weeks. I can only imagine we're going to do this off season.
And you are going to stay, just sort of, you guys are going to actually keep working together for the next show, for the next one.
Called me like the next day. He's like, Eric,
Nice.
he's like,
I called it
I'm
after
with you.
prejudging. I said,
Nice.
you know,
He's like, we got to put a plan together already.
Nice.
I can't handle this.
That's
the
awesome.
show wasn't even over.
That's awesome.
I don't know.
Great.
I don't.
He's excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for off season. I did what I could, and
With the time you had.
It's
and
not my best, and it's not even close to my best. I know what I can do with my body. You know, I've done it before, and with a short amount of time and all the shit that I've been through and went through and everything, at least I got to the show and I did it.
Right.
And all I got to say is to all you guys that had those little smirks on stage, you know, that I beat you all before when I was smaller and softer, and I'll come back and I'll crush your all asses again. Right? Honestly. And I'm not cocky, but that's the way it is.
Boom.
You know, the only thing that grew on you all was some certain area, and I ain't going to say it.
What are we training today?
I
That's a
know what we're
segue.
gonna train today. So you know what? This is called personality.
I like
what
it.
We need in bodybuilding.
Yeah,
we need
do.
to talk and have fun. You know,
that's right.
People are a little too serious.
Yep.
And if you take things personally, man, then obviously it's the truth.
Yep.
So, but it is what it is. We're here to have fun and train, and we're all competitive.
Yep.
So, I'm just one to talk my mind and speak my mind. So, it is what it is. I like Eric. He's a very cool guy. I had to actually, and this is one very important thing that. There was a few things that you have to listen to your coach, but at the same time, you got to, interact with him and tell him what's going on. Because if you don't, because like the night before the show, I was so hungry, I ate a ton of fats. And I had to tell him. I said, because if I didn't tell him, there's no point in working with him because he's not going to learn me.
Right.
So I ate like at least about 100 grams of fat, and I woke up the next day even harder. And I told him, I said, listen, Eric, I was real hungry, and I just kept eating a bunch of almonds. He's like, okay, well, I guess it wasn't enough fat, so we're going to do this today. We're going to change this today. So right away, he changed things, and even the next day, I came in even harder and drier.
Yeah, see, good communication is important.
It's communication with your clients and to trainer, and a lot of people, they don't do this, and they take it upon themselves to change things, and then they want to blame the coach.
I know.
It's not their fault.
They don't know.
So
they don't have all the information.
Keep
I mean,
communication right.
I think it's bad when a lot of coaches out there just want their word to just be God,
Gospel.
like nothing else. And sometimes you're taking on a new client, and there are some things they just know about themselves.
Right.
Yeah. And
save you time for them to tell you.
And you don't just say no. You just listen to me. You take that information in and you use that in your own prep. And when I was doing something with fats in the last couple of days, and I thought I had him high enough, but when he actually pushed him a little higher and the result was better, I said, okay, I can push this a little bit further. So I think it's always important for the coaches to really listen to the client and say, because you're not always with them 24/7. You don't know see what's happening, and say that they have a cheat meal, or say that they switch this, or they do that, and something positive happens. Take that in, and be like, hey, let me add that into the program. I'm still learning you. Now, maybe if I was with him for the past 5 years, it'd be different because I know everything. I don't know if I can handle it for 5 years, but I'll try. But I mean, 12 weeks was tough. But no, anyway. But
I put him under a lot of pressure, man. I was under a lot all right,
I think I called my phone the bat phone because every time I would ring, I'd look at the Abbas. I'd be like, wait a second, didn't I just email you? No,
All right, we're gonna get in there, catch a little bit of workout. Eric, thank you for coming. Abbas, thanks for coming back, man. Congratulations, you did look great on the show, and I'm sure the next one will be even better. So,
we'll see you all soon.
Appreciate it. What we're doing here with Abbas now is we're doing some incline presses. Now, before his show, a couple of body parts that we felt were weak was his chest and his triceps, and he's always trained them a certain way in all of his career. And I said, hey, listen, I have a training method that usually helps to bring up body parts really fast. It's called fiber damage, fiber saturation, and that basically means that we're looking to damage the muscle fibers as much as we can, and then we saturate them with blood to help them heal. So, for short, it's FDFS. Now, he's never tried anything like this before, but what we do is we're going to do the first movement. We're just demonstrating here. This is not a full hardcore workout. But what we do with the first movement is we do very, very heavy eccentric movements. We're just looking for about 4 to 6 reps. We're taking the negatives down in about 5 seconds, pausing for 1 second on the chest, and then as explosive as you can to the positive. Those negative repetitions done very slowly like that, they damage the muscle tissue, and that's how they repair and get bigger. He's never really done anything like that before, so we'll show you how he did it before the show. 5 down, 1 second pause, right up. Everything on the chest, focus on the chest. Slow pause, up to the top, up. Pause.
tried it. It's hard.
Okay, so the first exercise we did was focusing on the eccentric contractions, 5 seconds down, 1 second pause, explosive positive. Now another great way to damage muscle tissue and make them remodel bigger and stronger is the stretch. Now a lot of people just will go down to the stretch position and come right back up, but if you hold that stretch position as deep as you can and do stretch under tension, as I like to call it, and hold it for a good 3 to 4 seconds, you will really damage the muscle tissue, which again has to rebuild bigger and stronger. The form has to be perfect and very slow and careful, but now Abbas is going to demonstrate how we did this on flies. As you can see, that wasn't a full all-out set. We would go to failure and would be using weights again, try to be 4 to 6 reps. You can see how slow and controlled it came down in 2 seconds, held the stretch for 3, and then a nice controlled push to the top.
And what's great about this is that it seems so hard to do it with just even a small amount of weight because the tension on the the whole time. Well, you don't need crazy amount of weight.
You don't need a lot of weight because the weight feels so much heavier than it is.
Right.
It's all about getting the stretch and making sure that the muscle is doing all the work. And even when he's at the bottom, there's absolutely no momentum. When he comes to the top, it has to be all muscle contraction, not some sort of a mental bounce. So it's very, very effective. So now we did that on an incline Smith. Again, it's not the exercises. It can be a barbell incline, it can be a hammer incline, depending on what you want to do. But now we look to change the angles, and now we're going to go flat and flat.
Okay.
Okay, so now what we're doing is we're going back to the eccentrics again. This time we're going to do it on a machine, flat, to change the angle on his chest. We want to hit it from every single angle. Again, we're going to go back to those 5 second negatives, 1 second pause, and explosive positive. Alright, so now we're switching. We're going to do the stretch pauses again, this time on a fly machine. One thing that I like to emphasize in my training programs is to utilize a lot of different angles, a lot of different grips. I mean, barbells build muscle, dumbbells, machines, cables, everything builds muscle if you utilize them correctly, and the body needs a lot of different stimuli to grow. So now we're going to go back to the stretch pause, but this time use the machine for a slightly different feel. weight. This is killing it. Stretch. Squeeze. Good. 2 seconds back. Stretch is what we need. 3, 2, 1. Squeeze. 2 more. Let's go. Back. Good. 3, 2, 1. Full stretch. And in. Good. Back. Exaggerate that stretch as you can. 3, 2, 1. Squeeze. Finish. Good. Just control it back. It's good.
I saw that.
He's
I got
always
it,
knocking
I got
things
it on
over.
film actually. I brought it inside. I got it on film.
Well, you know you're getting too big when you start knocking over equipment. All right, so we're gonna go.
I think that one.
Into that one.
Oh, which one do you like?
The same one.
Yeah, the same one with the. Okay, so now what we're going to do, as I told you, the name of the program is Fiber Damage and Fiber Saturation. So the first half of the program, we're looking to damage the muscle fibers, and now we're looking to saturate them with blood. The more blood you bring in there, the more amino acids, the hormones, everything in there to help clean out the muscle, get rid of the lactic acid, and help to saturate the muscle with blood, which will help it to grow, fill it with oxygen, all that kind of stuff. So first the fiber damage, and now we're going to demonstrate the fiber saturation set, which is done more of a piston-like action. There's no negative or positive, just one after the other, and we look to get about 30 to 40 reps per set. We're just going to do one now.
So we're going for 40 reps.
I'm just going to go with 30. This is just a nice piston. Continuous movement. As much blood as we can in the chest. That's it. That's it. No exaggerated stretch or squeeze. We're just pumping. And if you don't get to the number of reps that we want, we can always do a drop. It's about 15 or so. Come on. That's it. That's what we want. A lot of blood. A lot of blood. Come on. Push. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Up. Come on. Here we go. Up. Up. 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. Good. 1 more. Go. Good. Awesome. That's positive muscle. No tension there. Blood flow is in the chest. It's going to get a great pump. And normally, yeah, I mean, his chest is looking great. We got his chest to grow in 12 weeks while dieting, so imagine what we're going to do in the off season. But usually do about 3 to 4 sets, maybe different angles for getting a lot of blood in the muscle. But again, that's the saturation portion, and that's just an example of how we finish the workout.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank
So
you.
I just want to say thanks a lot for coming all over here, Abbas, and then right after your show. You're a good sport. You said you would come back and do some more footage, and you were good to your word, so thank you. Right before you leave, because you're going to Arizona tomorrow for a little bit, right?
We're going to go out to Arizona. I think I'm going to be relocating out there. You know, it's got more friends out there, and the gyms are a little bit better than Orange County, so and it's a nice place to live. I lived out there like almost 20 years ago, so I'm going to go back, check it out, see how it is. But
Back to the future.
Still come back and forth. It's only an hour plane flight, so.
Oh yeah. Very cool.
I won't ever leave California.
What's our plan for the off season?
What's the plan, guys?
Plan? Well, go out there, check it out. When I come back, and just give myself like a week break or so, week and a half break. I need to just take some time to relax and give my body a break. It's my whole nervous system, everything. I'm just shot. So sleep, eat, relax.
He'll call me in 2 days and tell me he's ready to go back to the gym.
I know, I'm sick like that. I got a problem, man. I can't stop.
Well, you're a bodybuilder, so.
But we're gonna work together this whole off season. You know, like Eric said, we only had 12 weeks to work together, and I think, you know, I was very pleased with the results in just 12 weeks. So I've never had really a good off season with peace in my life. So finally, I'm gonna have some peace and quiet and concentrate and work, and that's it. You know, got the PersianMuscle.com coming out. So hoodies, tanks, leggings, hats, booty shorts for girls. I'm gonna have some nice little cute panties too for you all. But hey, it is what it is.
Hey, guys can order those too.
That's right. I know I said that. Yeah.
But that'll be all out. You know, it'll be with all my what I offer. You know, for training and tanning and contest prep, off season, everything. So you name it. But probably 6-7 months off season, and then we're gonna be back. I just want to come back, and it's gonna be definitely a top 5 when I come back.
Nice. Eric, thank you so much for coming today. I want to keep tabs on you because you're telling me you just had an athlete in the Team U. You have a lot of people that you're helping, and not many people know about it. So you need to keep me posted, so we can actually, you know.
So I'll send you all my information after this when I get home.
Keep on tabs so people can find you. Also, how can they find you on Facebook or?
Just look for me, Eric Broser, EricBroser. You can also email me at bodyeffects2, BODY, the letter F, the letter X, the number 2 at AOL.com. And if you just Google my name, you'll find me, and I'm happy to help anybody who writes me and make this guy grow to about 290 in the off season.
That'll be a good off season.
But thanks for having me down here. I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me come down and do this with you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, man. I mean, I really got to appreciate it. And thanks for all the help. I know I called so many times, but you know, I just wanted to make things right. And
he must like you.
Well,
so.
no, I think he's probably sick of me now. But the first time with somebody, you need to be in touch with them a little bit more, you know. And I tell that to all my clients. I said, you need to call me. I need to know what's going on, you know. So I just let him know, you know, whether through text or email, this is what's going on, this is how I'm feeling. So, you know, because I knew I liked what he was doing, and I needed him to know to learn my body quicker, as fast as possible.
To apply to yourself.
12 weeks, you know. It's not like we have 6 months to play around, you know.
Well, the truth of the fact is that as a coach, I personally only take on a certain amount of clients at one time, and the sole reason that I do that, I could take on more and do some type of cookie cutter thing for everybody, but like I want to be personal with everybody, so if they need to call me or if they need to email me a lot, I don't want to just leave them for a week. If they need me that day, I try to get back to them, and that's what I did with Abbas. So I keep my clients limited, and I make sure that I can give them personal attention, and that's just the way I think it should go with coach and client. So you know, and then usually become friends. So I mean, I was happy to get on the phone with him as many times as I could. Sometimes I'd roll my eyes a little bit and go, didn't you just call me a little while ago?
Jeez.
But, you know, but I want to see everybody be at their best. So if talking to me for 5 minutes about whatever, it's going to make them be their best, and I'm happy to do it. So.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, MD, and everybody.
Thanks, MD. As you can see, I'm wearing my MD.
Yeah, nice.
Hope you all liked the video, and
there'll be more. There'll be more.
Too offended about what I said earlier.
No.
I'm getting all butthurt now.
There'll be more Abbas. There'll be more to come soon. We're
gonna be doing some off season. Once I'm full blown, we'll probably be coming back and we'll do some showing the improvements and whatnot.
We'll do a real workout.
We'll do a real workout with some crazy weight and stuff like that. I just don't want to do anything heavy.
Maybe a vomit bucket nearby.
Oh yeah, I'll be the first, so we'll try that.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Thank you, Dave, so much.